So now I will start my reading practice for 15 minutes for Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I came to on the kitchen floor a few minutes later. My back was still smeared with shit. My thighs caked in blood and urine. My feet were blistered up and bleeding in 12 places. 7 of my 10 toenails were dangling loose, connected only by tabs of dead skin. We had a combination tub and shower, and she got the shower going before helping me crawl toward the bathroom and climb into the tub. I remember laying there, naked, with the shower pouring down upon me. I shivered, felt, and looked like death. And then I started peeing again, but instead of blood or urine, what came out of me looked like thick brown bile. Petrified, Kate stepped into the hall to dial my mom. She had been to the race with a friend of hers who happened to be a doctor. When he heard my symptoms, the doctor suggested that I might be in kidney failure and that I needed to go to the ER immediately. Kate hung up, stormed into the bathroom, and found me lying on my left side in the fetal position. We need to get you to the ER now, David. She kept talking, shouting, crying, trying to reach me through the haze, and I heard most of what she said. But I knew if we went to the hospital, they would give me painkillers, and I did not want to mask this pain. I had just accomplished the most amazing feat in my entire life. It was harder than Hell Week, more significant to me than becoming a SEAL, and more challenging than my deployment to Iraq because this time I had gone something I am not sure anyone had ever done before. I ran 101 miles with zero preparation. I knew then that I would been selling myself short, that there was a whole new level of performance out there to tap into, that the human body can withstand and accomplish a hell of a lot more than most of us think and possible, and that it all begins and ends in the mind. That was not a theory. It was not something I had read in Devon book. I had experienced in first hand on hospitality point. This last part, this pain and suffering, this was my trophy ceremony. I had earned this. This was confirmation that I would master my own mind at least for a little while, and that what I would just accomplished was something special. As I lay there, curled up in the tub, shivering in the fetal position, relishing the pain, I thought of something else too. If I could run 10 miles with zero training, if I could run 10 miles with zero training, imagine what I could do with a little preparation. Challenge number 6. Take inventory of your cookie jar. Crack your journal open again. Write it all out. Remember, this is not some breezy stroll through your personal trophy room. Don't just write down your achievement hit list. Include life obstacles you have overcome as well, like quitting smoking or overcoming depression or a stutter. And in those minor tasks you failed earlier in life, but tried again a second or third time and ultimately succeeded at. Feel what it was like to overcome those struggles, those opponents, and win. Then get to work. Set ambitious goals before each workout and let those past victories carry you to new personal bests. If it's a run or bike ride, include some time to do interval work and challenge yourself to beat your best mile split, or simply maintain a maximum heart rate for a full minute, then 2 minutes. If you are at home, focus on pull ups or push ups. Do as many as possible in 2 minutes, then try to beat your best. When the pain hits and tries to stop you short of your goal, dunk your fist in, pull out a cookie, and let it fuel you. If you are more focused in an intellectual growth, train yourself to study harder and longer than ever before. If you are more focused on intellectual growth, train yourself to study harder and longer than ever before, or read a record number of books in a given month. Train yourself to study harder. Train yourself to study harder and longer than ever before and read a record number of books in a given month. Your cookie jar can help there too because if you perform this challenge correctly and truly challenge yourself, you will come to a point in any exercise where pain, boredom, or self doubt kicks in and you will need to push back to get through it. The cookie jar is your shortcut to taking control of your own thought process. Use it that way. The point here is not to make yourself feel like a hero for the fuck of it. It's not a hooray for me session. It's to remember what a badass you are so you can use that energy to succeed again in the heat of battle. Post your memories and the new success they fueled on social media and include the hashtags can't hurt me cookie jar. Now we will start chapter 7, the most powerful weapon. 27 hours after savoring intense gratifying pain and basking in the afterglow of my greatest achievement so far, I was back at my desk on a Monday morning. SBG was my commanding officer, and I had his permission and every known excuse to take a few days off. Instead, swollen, sore, and miserable, I pulled myself out of bed, hobbled into work, and later that morning called Chris Costman. I had been looking forward to this. I imagined the sweet note of surprise in his voice after hearing that I had taken his challenge and run 101 miles in less than 24 hours. Perhaps there had even been some overdue respect as he made my entry to Badwater official. Instead, my call went to voicemail. I left him a polite message he never returned, and 2 days later, I dropped him an email. Sir, how are you doing? I ran the 100 miles needed to qualify in 18 hours and 56 minutes. I would like to know now what I need to get into Badwater so we can begin raising money for the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. Thanks again. His reply came in next day and it threw me way the fuck off. Congrats on your 100-mile finish, but did you actually stop then? The point of a 24-hour event is to run for 24 hours anyway. Stay tuned for the announcement that you can apply. The race will be July 24 to 26. Best regards, Chris Costman. I couldn't help but take his response personally. On a Wednesday, he suggested I run 100 miles in 24 hours that Saturday. I got it done in less time than he required, and he still was not impressed. Costman was a veteran of ultra races, so he knew that stone behind me were a frozen dozen performance barriers and pain threshold I had shattered. Obviously, none of that meant much to him. I cooled off for a week before I wrote him back, and in the meantime looked into other races to bolster my resume. There were very few available that late in the year. I found a 50 miler on Catalina, but only triple digits would impress a guy like Costman. Plus, it had been a full week since the San Diego one day, and my body was still monumentally fucked. I had not run 3 feet since finishing mile 101. My frustration flashed with the cursor as I crafted my rebuttal. Thanks for emailing me back. I see that you enjoy talking about as much as I do. The only reason why I am still bugging you is because this race and the cause behind it is important. If you have any other qualifying races that you think I should do, please let me know. Thanks for letting me know I am supposed to run the full 24 hours. Next time I will be sure to do that. It took him another full week to respond, and he didn't offer a hell of a lot more hope. But at least he salted it with sarcasm. Hi, David. If you can do some more ultras between now and Jan 3 to 24, the application period, great. If not, submit the best possible application during the Jan 324 window and cross your fingers. Thanks for your enthusiasm, Chris. At this point, I was starting to like Chris Costman a lot better than my chances of getting into Badwater. What I didn't know, because he never mentioned it, is that Costner was one of 5 people on the Badwater Admission Committee, which reviews upwards of 1000 applications a year. Each judge scores every application, and based on their cumulative score, the top 90 applications get it on merit. From the sounds of it, my resume was thin and would not crack the top 90. On the other hand, Costman held 10 wild cards in his back pocket. He could have already guaranteed me a spot, but for some reason he kept pushing me. Once again, I would have to prove myself beyond a minimum standard to get a fair shake. To become a SEAL, I had to deal with 3 hell weeks, and now, if I really wanted to run Badwater and raise money for families in need, I was going to have to find a way to make my application bulletproof. Based on the link he sent along with his reply, I found one more ultra race scheduled before the Badwater application was due. It was called the Hurt 100, and the name did not lie. One of the toughest 100-mile trail races in the world. It was set in a triple canopy rainforest on the island of Oahu. To cross the finish line, I had have to run up and down 24,500 vertical feet. That is some Himalayan shit. I stared at the race profile. It was all sharp spikes and deep dives. It looked like an arrhythmic EKG. I couldn't do this race cold. There is no way I could finish it without at least some training. But by early December, I was still in touch agony that walking up the stairs to my apartment was pure torture. The following weekend, I zoomed up Interstate 15 to Vegas for the Las Vegas Marathon. It was not spurred of the moment. Months before I had ever heard the word San Diego one day, Kate, my mom, and I had circled December 5th on our calendars. It was 2005, the first year that the Las Vegas Marathon started on the strip, and we wanted to be part of that shit. Except I never trained for it. Then the San Diego one day happened, and by the time we got to Vegas, I had no illusions about my fitness level. I tried to run the morning before we left, but I still had stress fractures in my feet. My medical tendons were wobbly, and even while wrapped with a special bandage I had found that could stabilize my ankles, I couldn't last longer than a quarter mile. So I did not plan on running. As we rocked up to the Mandalay Bay Casino and Resort on race day, it was a beautiful morning. Music was pumping. There were thousands of smiling faces in the street, and the clean desert air had a chill to it. And the sun was shining. Running conditions don't get much better, and Kate was ready to go. Her goal was to break 5 hours, and for once I was satisfied being a cheerleader. My mom had always planned on walking it. Cheerleader, my mom had always planned on walking it, and I figured I had stalled with her for as long as I could. Then hail a cab to the finish line and cheer my ladies to the tape. The 3 of us toyed up with the masses as the clock struck 7 a.m. and someone got on the mic to begin the official countdown. 10, 9, 8. When he hit one, a horn sounded, and like Pavlov's dog, something clicked inside me. I still don't know what it was. Perhaps I underestimated my competitive spirit. Maybe it was because I knew Navy SEALs were supposed to be the hardest motherfuckers in the world. We were supposed to run on broken legs and fractured feet, or so went the legend I had bought into long ago. Whatever it was, something triggered, and the last thing I remember seeing as the horde echoed down the street was shock and real concern on the faces of Kate and my mother as I charged down the boulevard and out of sight. The pain was serious for the first quarter mile, but after that, adrenaline took over. I hit the first mile marker at 7:10 and kept running like the asphalt was melting behind me. 10 kilometers into the race, my time was around 43 minutes. That's solid, but I was not focused on the clock because considering how I had felt the day before, I was still in total disbelief that I had actually run 6.2 miles. My body was broken. How was this happening? How was this happening? Most people in my condition would have both feet in soft casts, and here I was running a marathon. That's it for the day.